Hello, everyone. Welcome to Escaping the Chains podcast. I am your host, John Humphreys. We are so glad to have you with us today. As always, we are sponsored by and brought to you by Delivered Media. They do all of our production stuff, editing stuff, and you hear us refer to him all the time. He is RJ from Delivered Media, the man behind the curtain, the Oz. The Wizard of Oz, RJ. Today we have a friend, Chris Ehrhart. We bumped into each other a lot and had some good conversations. I did a post maybe about a month ago about somebody that people would like to see on the podcast, and his name came up a bunch of times. I don't know if he paid people to do that or if it just happened, but
We'll never know.
we'll never know. It came up a few times. So, Chris, how you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm blessed. I'm highly favored.
All right. Well, why don't you tell me a little bit about what you're doing right now, your job, and just what life's like, and we'll just kind of go from there.
I work for Blackford County IRACs right now. I'm a forensic peer.
Mm-hmm.
I go into jail and I just help people with whatever they need. Rehab. I run matrix classes. I work with them one-on-one and just trying to make a difference in a jail that I've been to too many times.
You've been to all of them around here, haven't you?
I've been to a few jails, man.
So when you talk about Matrix, explain to people that may not understand what that is, what exactly that is.
Matrix is a group that I remember taking it when I went to the Harmony Home and I had to go to the Bowen Center. And it's a group that is pretty much, it's about addiction, but it's not. It's about life. It goes through, there's 3 modules that we teach. There's a relapse prevention group, there's an adjustment group, and there's another one that's right there, but not there in my head, you know. But them 3 groups together, and they get a certificate. It's just basically, each module or class, I think it's a 28-week thing. I think there's 56 modules. Do not quote me on that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's just a group setting where I just facilitate trying to help them think a different way.
Yeah, so it's kind of a cool thing we're seeing more and more of is county jails are allowing these programs in and actually welcoming them in. And it's a newer type of thing. I know there was MRT and stuff, but to have, peers coming in.
Right.
And when we talk about peers or recovery coaches, most of the time you're talking about somebody that's been through the addiction, recovery, sobriety journey themselves. So, but that's really cool. So, when you talk about the Harmony Home, tell us how did you end up in the Harmony Home, and what is the Harmony Home?
I ended up in the Harmony Home from having a rough life, having a 30-year addiction, one way or another, one thing or another. It led me to rehab. That led me to a PHP, and I ended up at the Harmony Home just on accident. I was due to go to a different sober living in Anderson, and I seen Keith Adams online. I was like, wow, he used to make me laugh in jail,
Yeah.
So I'm thinking I'm going to call him up. I said, what are you doing? He said, I'm running these sober living houses in Huntington. There was 2 of them at the time. I was like, wow, that's crazy because I'm going to a sober living. And so I went to the Harmony Home fully expecting to run.
Right.
Because I had a warrant.
Yeah.
I think God knew that. He didn't make me go, like my probation officer was just like, well, give him enough rope to hang himself, but I just took the rope and made a hammock.
Yeah.
So the Harmony Home is a 12-step based program, 9-month program, but it's individually based. It's based on each person. And it taught me a lot. The 12 steps, when I first got there, my higher power was water.
Right.
But now my higher power is Jesus.
Amen.
And ever since I made that decision, I quit playing chess with life.
Yeah.
And just resigned myself to being a piece on God's chessboard. Everything's been pretty good.
Makes it a lot easier, doesn't it?
Way easier.
Yeah. It's that surrender, though. We fight and we
man.
fight and we fight. Yeah. So, the Harmony Home, I know when I was doing transports here a lot, we would send people over there. And it's crazy to see what's going on in Huntington, and the Harmony Home has a lot to do with that. The Sunday night, you guys call them speaker meetings, but it turns into pretty much a testimony service a lot of the time.
Definitely.
A lot of testimonies, graduations and stuff, and just watching the impact that a group and like if you're listening, that's the thing is a lot of times like people like Buck, they don't want. We don't want recovery residences and transitional housing in our area because we don't want people that have used drugs. And I understand we're all I can speak for myself and probably you. I was a thief. You know what I mean? I wasn't, but the impact that these houses have, it's not like people are escaping and robbing people. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
not what you think. But when you get one and you get one that's ran well in your neighborhood, it changes it can change the whole environment of a place. So like downtown Huntington now, when you go down there, because I've been over to speak at Ground Zero.
Right.
They do one Saturday a month, and I've been to the Sunday night,
Yeah.
and it's just like, man, people in the parking lot talking and just,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's such a good vibe. It's almost like, you know what I mean? Like a carnival or something. Like
Right.
everybody's just reconnecting. You see people you haven't seen in a while. So yeah, if you're listening, when we talk about transitional houses, the ones that are ran well have such a positive impact.
They really do.
Yeah, in the community and in the lives of people. And that's another
My
thing.
life.
Yeah, you don't know who in your family or your friend on your friends list may need help one day.
Yeah.
And that resource is huge.
Big time.
So I have heard a lot. One of the things that's interesting about you is I don't know how many different communities you operated in, but you have you have stories with people from all different towns,
Yeah.
and like everybody kind of knows you. They were either in treatment with you, or they were in jail with you, or they
Yeah.
ran with you. So tell me just like how did you end up in the world of like going to jail a lot, using drugs? Like how did we get there?
Is early childhood trauma, if I had to use my professional credentials to tell you. But really, that trauma turned into me just trying to hide some feelings.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked it when I got to hide my feelings. I'm about 12 years old or so.
Yeah.
And it was just weed or whatever, But that led to cocaine, led to pills, led to the methadone clinic. I feel you when you say that we was at the methadone clinic for a long time. My number was 308. Like I went there for 7
You were
years.
an OG. I was 1611, so
Yeah.
you had some time on me.
308. I went there for 7 years. They kicked me out for doing Xanax. And then I did the thing I never thought I'd do, and the needle just took and went. A big thing that happened, my dad died in 2014, and to say I nosedived, I mean, I was already, doing the most, but.
What was your relationship like with him?
Great.
So you had a really good relationship.
Very good, and he was very supportive, even though I was messing up left and right all the time, and he knew it, and he always had this hope. And so when he died, I just went nuts, and they gave me this big check, this big chunk of money that I went through in 6 months, buying heroin and whatnot, and then I was out of money. And so I went to live with my grandma, and it's about to get real. Hold on.
Yeah.
I went to live with my grandma, and she had a stroke, and needed somebody to write her checks for her. So I started writing checks, and ended up thinking, well, I'm out of money, and I need money, because I need some heroin. So I wrote a bunch of checks for about a month and a half, whole bunch of money, caught a bunch of charges on it too. And last thing my grandma said was Chris, why? On the phone when she called me when I finally got caught. She said, Chris, why? And I said, I don't know. Heroin. And I was so ashamed that I never talked to her again. She died, I was still in addiction. I remember I did a shot before I went into her viewing. And then I seen a cop out there, and I've always got a warrant. So I ran from my grandma's viewing. And then I'd love to sit here and tell you that I wanted a better life. I wanted my kids to be better. I wanted everything to be better. But the truth is, I finally just hated being dope sick more than I loved being high. And something got in my head, and I went, it's probably not a coincidence. I went the day after Father's Day to Bridges of Hope at Anderson on 6/22/2022, and that's what led me into getting. That's the first time I asked for help, and yeah, I've rode that. So that's how I got there.
Man, it's crazy. Like people don't understand like the desperate feeling of like not wanting, like when you've been using on a regular basis, nobody's safe.
Right.
Because that's what when I tell my story, it's like, if I'm going to family's house, like I'm finding change, checking
Whatever.
the medicine cabinets, like, you know what I mean? Like it just, nobody is safe,
Right.
because you have like this fear of this sickness. And really, like, I think Andrea's coming in next week to talk about possession a little bit, but really that's what it is. Like you are totally,
I truly believe that.
yeah, you're not really, treat people in active addiction like humans because they are, and there is hope in there and there's light in there
Right.
somewhere. But there's something's got a hold of them because there's no way. When I got sober, I realized like if I went to the gas station when I was using, I had to take something. I
Yeah.
would get a Reese cups. Like there had to be. I just
Something.
had to. I couldn't come out empty-handed. Like
Right.
I was so selfish,
Exactly.
self-centered, and just like inconsiderate. I was so inconsiderate to everything.
Right.
I didn't
I
care,
get that.
man. So that's a rough sequence of events though,
Oh
because
yeah.
you lost your
That was
dad,
rough.
then you lost your grandmother, and I know, kind of working in the fields that we work in, a lot of people have that guilt. Mom died when they were in prison, or you know what I mean, stuff like that. How have you, like, when you started to get sober? Because it also sucks, because
Oh
now you got to feel,
yeah.
now you got to feel stuff too, right? So
Right.
you're
That's
getting
the best.
sober and like
That's the best thing about sobriety is you get your feelings back, and that's the worst thing about sobriety that you get your feelings
100%.
back.
Yeah.
Me personally, I didn't do well. I was ready to run at any moment. I got diagnosed as auditory schizophrenic. I thought, man, I'm not doing meth no more. Why am I still hearing these
What's
voices?
that mean?
I
Auditory.
hear voices.
Mm-hmm.
But so they gave me all this medicine at the bone center, and that helped. You know what I mean? But to keep it real, it wasn't until I through working the steps I found God. And I'd say a couple months after I graduated the Harmony Home, I just quit taking all the stuff, and I don't hear voices now. So I really believe that it was just, you know, you go back to that possession thing, that
Yeah.
demon thing. I think that was a hanger on her,
Yeah.
But yeah, I had a lot of therapy dealing with it and a lot of work, literally working my steps, not just reading them off and acting like I had a sponsor. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And as far as I have worked the steps with a sponsor, but I have more mentors, that
Yeah.
really came into play. And the only thing that made sense was, I can go to my grandmother's tombstone, or I can go to the covered bridge in Matthews and talk to my dad or tell my grandma I'm sorry. But the way I have made it made it better is to just do better.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to be a better guy than I was yesterday. And I just wake up every day and try to do that.
Yeah. I feel like the enemy and then your flesh a lot of times constantly wants to remind you,
Mhm.
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, oh, well, you're not worthy. Like all of those things that will
definitely.
throw the deepest pains that you have back
Man,
in your face and try to get you to try to make everything your fault.
for
You know
sure.
what I mean?
Yeah,
And some of the stuff was our fault, but it's like at some point, I was telling you guys about that song "Abandon,"
yeah,
and he's singing it, and what he's saying is, "I want to be as abandoned as Jesus. You went to the cross for me. I want to be that abandoned." And he
right.
was like, "What kind of self control is it to have angels at your fingertips, but on the cross you remained?" You know
Man,
what I mean? He did that for us to have freedom from these things, and it's not like some people will use grace. You have to have accountability and you have to repent. But when you've done those things, you know what I mean?
yeah,
You are forgiven. But in our brains, and the enemy
yeah,
and people are
for
like, hold
sure.
on a second, dude. I say it all the time. Like you could leave here today, and run into a burning building and save 12 kids, be on the front page of the paper, and some people are like, you know what he did? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like so
Right.
there is no escaping those voices or
For
people's
sure.
opinions, you know what I mean? But I think it is, and it's a reoccurring work because
Yeah.
like even when you're sitting, I don't know about you, but I'll be sitting by myself sometimes, and it starts to creep up. It's like you're a
Oh
piece of
yeah.
crap, you know
For
what I
sure.
mean?
I
You did.
still get it a lot of times with being a dad, you know.
Hmm.
With being a dad, I'm like, man, he was a piece of crap for so long. You're never going to be anything else but that to these kids.
Hmm.
And it affects me sometimes, you know, where I'm just like, but I just work through it, man. I work through it with my wife. She's great, you know.
Yeah, you got married
I
recently, yeah.
did
Yeah, congratulations on
October
that.
10th.
And then
She just told me a few days ago, Monday, I think, that she's pregnant.
listen, people, she brought 4 or 5 tests too. So
there was 4 tests that
4
she
tests.
sent me a picture with 4 pregnancy tests. I guess she was just being sure.
Yeah,
But everybody asks me, what do you want, a boy or a girl? And I'm like, I got a boy and I got a girl. I just want healthy,
yeah,
you know, and I want a chance to be like, I want a chance to be a father I wasn't a father during my kids' younger years like that.
yeah.
And I just thank God for even that maybe opportunity, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I feel like my decisions in my life messed my kids' lives up really bad, you know? They didn't have me or their mom. But now, I mean, she graduated Waypoint, my ex-wife,
Hmm.
their mom, and I'm doing what I'm doing. So we're trying, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? We're trying to make it work, but sometimes it's just how much damage did I actually do, you know?
And time. I think dealing with guys a lot. One of the things Nathan was talking about is like, why haven't they forgiven me yet? And it's like,
Right,
you know, and his pastor was like, that's, you know, that's their process.
right.
You know what I mean? And we just have to have grace and be supportive and understand,
Yeah,
you know. And I do believe, like you see, like I personally believe in miracles because I'm a miracle. And if
amen.
I believe in all of the things in the Bible and all of the things that I've seen with my own eyes, God, Jesus Christ can and will restore,
Amen.
but it's going to be in His time. You
Hey,
get what I'm
I
saying?
do.
We want it tomorrow, you know.
Yeah,
And I think that's an encouraging thing, you know what I mean?
right.
Because once that stuff shifts,
Yeah.
then you'll be sitting there at Christmas or something one day and be like, man, I would have
Wow.
never thought that I'd be sitting here like this when I was, you know, going through these things and trying to watch God restore, and sometimes in our
Right.
own strength try to restore stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so congratulations on those
Thanks,
things.
man.
That's cool, and she's really active in
Oh yeah.
the
She
recovery addiction faith based.
she is totally faith based.
Yeah, she is
100% faith.
100% faith based.
100% faith based.
Yeah.
It's the remnant.
Yeah, she came. They used to come to the Friday night services a
Yeah.
lot. Yeah.
They
So
are on fire for Jesus.
yeah, I'm telling you, people, if you're not, if you are not on people around people that are on fire for Jesus, you really got to try to get in proximity of that from time to time. I mean,
For sure.
you may not be able to live, you know,
Right.
move in with somebody, and be like, hey,
Yeah.
dude, you're on fire for Jesus. I'm gonna be your roommate. But it's so good for your soul
Man.
to see people who love the Bible and to see people who just recklessly just worship God. It's such a beautiful experience,
It really
you
is.
know. Yeah. So yeah, find that if you haven't, you know what I mean? And if you're like, I don't have that in my community, well, you know what I mean, Central Indiana's we've got it. So
We can find it for you.
we can find it for you. So you have all that stuff. You have all that stuff going on. You've had some restoration. Now, so tell me, you know you've worked the steps, and that's how you found God. We've heard that before, haven't we, RJ? And I think that you may be like, oh gosh, well I've heard this 5 times on these podcasts. Well, we can't control what works
Right.
for people, but if you've heard it a few times, you're starting to understand that there's probably a recipe to freedom is what I like to call it. You have sobriety,
sure.
you have recovery, and you
then
have freedom.
Yep.
You know, and we want you to experience them all. You know what I mean? But the end goal is like to see people experience freedom.
Freedom is my favorite stage right now. I can honestly say that.
Yes, by far, by far. But so, explain like how, you know, I don't know if you had. We all are so different. Some people slowly, God was drawing them in. Some have radicals encounters, you know. But you said the steps kind of like started to reveal God to you. Explain that.
Well, when I first got over there in Huntington, they had this speaker meeting in this church, and I couldn't go in this church. I'd sit back here with my sunglasses on, my hood up, in the back row, rocking back and forth, ready to bolt.
Yeah.
Like it was this mad anxiety that just filled me every time. So bad that Rob noticed it, and he said that I was allowed to sit downstairs and watch it live.
You're talking about Rob Knorr,
Robert Knorr.
He's the founder of the Harmony
Executive
Home.
director and founder of the Harmony Home.
He is an absolute G. But yeah.
He's cool.
Yeah, I like Rob.
He was the best man at my wedding.
Was he?
Yeah.
I've had the encounters I've had with him are always, and he's real.
Yeah,
you don't walk in and it's not like
he's so humble too,
and there's
like
no
really
fake.
Is.
You know what I mean? It's just real.
Rob don't do fake.
No, he doesn't.
But so I'm trying to sit through these speaker meetings, and I can't sit through this. I can't sit, and I'd sit up there, and I'd just walk up and leave, and I'd be in a bad mood the rest of the night. And my cousins, Shane Ehrhart, RJ Pittman, do this thing called We Do Recover event.
Yeah, yeah.
And
is that in Decatur?
Yeah,
up in Decatur, Indiana. They do it once a year. I think. Yeah.
And this was the third annual one, and Kalichi was going to be there. And I remember shooting up on one of my cousin's toilets in the bathroom. She knew what I was doing, and she slid her phone under playing this song by Kalichi called "Drug Addiction."
Yeah.
And that was the first time that I realized, man, he's went through all the same stuff I went through. So I had the Kalichi thing in my head, and when I knew Kalichi was going to be there, I wanted to go tell him thank you, because I'm 4 months sober now, and you know what I mean? Thanks for that song. And I got there, and but Kalichi's not what I remember about it. What I remember about it was this guy, Nicky Gracious, going up there and just, going off. And I'm like, wow, they can do that with like Jesus stuff?
Yeah.
You know, so so back to the church, I'm having, and my cousin, the same cousin, Ashley, that threw the phone under the door, said, guess who's at CFC, Christian Fellowship Church in North Manchester? She was up there at church. Nicky Gracious is here. And I was like, you know what? Ask him about one of them songs that says schizophrenic devil messing with my brain or something like that in it. Why don't you just ask him if he just really meant that, or if he's just rhyming words? And typical Ashley, she didn't message me back. So I didn't think nothing about it. But later that night, I got this message from Nick Greathouse, which is actually Nicky Gracious. And he's like, your cousin told me about you, about your don't push God on me. Nobody can tell me nothing about this, because I know nobody else knows. All these people are crazy, and I know, and they're delusional, and I'm smarter than them. Yeah. And that's how I felt. And he said, I know you're not going to like what I'm about to say, but the reason you can't sit through that church thing is demons, man. And I'm going to tell you why the demons are attacking you so hard is because you're getting ready to do something great. And I'm like, He said, I said, so what do I do? He said, sit through it. Be in the presence. Like he was just talking about being in the presence of somebody on fire for Jesus. Just do it. So I did. I still had but I didn't rock as much. I still had my hood and sunglasses on, but I just sat through it. And then I got my license back. So I want to help. I told Rob, all I want to do is help. I want to help. And he said, I can't have you help. You're an emotional roller coaster.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I was like, well, I could not be. So I started taking the guys to CFC for CR, Celebrate Recovery.
That's on Tuesday nights in North Manchester. Yeah.
I started taking the guys up there, and still had my hood and sunglasses on. But soon enough, the hood came down. Yeah. Sunglasses was still on. A couple weeks later, I noticed I didn't even wear sunglasses in there. A couple weeks after that, I'm I'm inching closer, and I'm dancing. Like that's what I do when I worship. I dance like
Yeah.
constantly, and soon as I like people say it don't happen overnight. It can't. It's this whole thing, It doesn't happen overnight, but you can ask anybody that I've been around. It was click, click, boom. Oh, now I'm saved. You know what? I want to get baptized now, but my higher power used to be water, so it's got to be moving water, a river or something.
Yeah.
So Pastor Jacob baptized me on Easter 2023 in that river up there. I don't know what river it was, but I know it's in North Manchester. And I know that, it was cold that day, and I didn't know they was going to sing 2 verses of Amazing Grace before I got done.
Right.
You know what I mean? Why? This water's cold. My
Yeah.
legs were numb when I came out, but I really felt like a whole new person when I came out. And I just kept going from there, man. Like it just kept going and kept going. And my life has been just it like skyrocketed. I don't even. If you'd have told me 3 years ago, I'd be sitting here talking to you, and
Yeah.
not unless you had some dope or something.
Right.
Maybe then we could, but
Um. Yeah, and I think it was cool because like from my perspective, like I hop in over there every once in a while, and it was like I had knew of you and you were a little quiet, and then it was like, who's this dude? Like, was he? You know what I mean? It's
I re-
almost it's like, is he on energy drinks or what? 'Cause it's
maybe.
like, yeah, but like in the back, and it's like, who's talking? And it was you because you did ended up. So they have used you to help and serve
Oh yeah.
in a lot of different capacities. Now,
About 2 years now, me and Rocky have been running that same speaker meeting that I couldn't sit through,
yeah.
and
And
we've made it bigger than
yeah,
what it was.
and it's doing well.
Yeah.
It's doing well. We did the well, you were with us, RJ. We did the night of freedom over there, and
That was good.
it was a lot of the Hope House guys.
Yeah.
Such a cool community.
It's
People
great.
just coming in off the streets. You know what
For
I mean?
sure.
Like, what's going on in there?
Hey.
Come on in. That's
Y'all
what we're
got
here
some
for.
food? Sure we do.
Yeah, we got food,
Go
water,
ahead, get
whatever
you
you
some.
need. Yeah. So yeah, that's cool. What is the first off, the Nick Gracious song you're talking about is Diagnosed Schizophrenic. Is that Stand Up?
Yeah.
Stand Up, that's on iTunes and everything like
Oh
that.
yeah. It's on everywhere.
And well, it's interesting because we just heard a testimony the other night, and I don't want to get into it because
Yeah.
we'll have him on, but he was
Right.
talking about like, oh, you know,
For
I mean, there's
sure.
actually Christian music like that's kind of more the rhythm of my life and what I've been through.
Yeah,
you know?
one of my best friends that
Yeah.
I went through the trenches with, literally.
Yeah, good testimony. We're having him on.
That was good.
Yeah. Gosh, that one hit me.
It was good.
That's another thing. Like if you have testimony services in
Do
your
it.
area, get to those things. And if you don't, make one. Get with some leadership at churches or something. Be like, hey, we just
For
want to have
sure.
it. We just want to have people come in and tell their stories. And I'm telling you, some of the most powerful moves of God happen
Oh, yeah.
through people just testifying.
I think when he was done, me and you both looked at each other, and he was like, "Are you going?" And you knew that I was going to go grab him for a
Yeah.
speaker meeting. You said, "I'm going too."
I was about to get. He's going to be on the podcast.
Yeah,
My
definitely.
wheels was turning. So
We're going to get him.
yeah, so definitely, if you don't have those in your community, it doesn't take much to start them, and don't have, like when we first started doing the speaking years ago, you'd go to a place, you'd drive there, and there'd be 8 people,
Right.
and it's some of the most beautiful memories I have, and we've spoken to big crowds, everything
Oh,
like
yeah.
that, but just those intimate little groups where people would even challenge you,
Right.
like I don't believe in God,
Right.
you know, and you could have dialogue with them. But those little testimony services make so much,
Big
are such,
time.
yeah, because sometimes family members need to hear,
Right.
like, hey, this person, we see that a lot, you know. I mean, it's like they just need a little bit of hope. It's exhausting
Exactly.
loving somebody in active addiction,
Right.
you know. So that's cool. So what's your life like now? You know, do you have,
Busy.
you're really busy. Do you have a hard time? I think we've discussed it before, but do you have like a hard time slowing down or resting, or
Sometimes.
is it
Yeah.
is it something you've had to work on?
Yes. I have to take the time. Look, I work 45-ish, maybe, hours a week for IRAX. I work Saturdays and at the Harmony Home. I go to church Sunday morning and I do the speaker meeting Sunday night. I'm also a full-time college student at IWU. I'm about halfway through a bachelor's degree in addiction counseling. My plate's full.
Yeah.
But I go to the water.
Yeah.
That's what I do. I just take off and just for a weekend, I go down and look at the ocean, stand there. That's when I feel closest with God, is by the water like that. And I love the waves, the crashing. Me and Rocky took off to Niagara Falls not long ago and just
Yeah, I
went.
saw that.
And we just, because I wanted to see some water. And I was like,
Yeah.
hey, you ever seen Niagara Falls? No. Okay, well, we're going this weekend.
Yeah.
So we did. And Lake Michigan, same. The waves, it's the waves. And I just did a Lake Michigan trip not a few weeks ago. And me and my wife went up there. And I get out there and I'm used to these waves crashing, and I like the power of the water. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I said, that's what re-energizes me, is watching the power of this water. And I get there and there's no waves at all, calm. So we get on the Amtrak train because I thought the waves might be in Chicago on the other side or something, So we go to Chicago and look at it from the other side and it's calm again. And that's when it hit me. I'm out on this the pier and I'm just staring out over this water, man, and I heard, be still and know that I'm God. And I'm like, and it all just hit me. All the power of the waves are still there, and it's so calm.
Yeah.
I don't have to go 150 miles an hour at all times in order to do better, or I'm allowed to just rest. And now, since that, I've taken that, Jeff Diamond talks about that intentional time with God.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he literally says the word intentional, like only Jeff Diamond can.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Sorry, Jeff. But I take that now. Like, I take that and it really, like, it re-energizes me without, I pour out, you know what I'm talking about. We pour out constantly in this line of work in general. I got 45 guys at any given time that think that my only job is to help that one person when I'm really doing it with all 45 guys. So I think it's just really important to make sure you are filling yourself back up, not just pouring out, because I'm not going to do anybody any good at all if I'm pouring out from an empty cup, man.
Yeah, and you can crash. I think we talked about that too,
Yeah,
though. You get to running
for
so
sure.
hard, and then you're almost like, man, I feel a little bit insane.
Mental breakdown. It's like legit borderline
and
mental
some people physical. I've seen, blood pressure problems, and that, because it's like you go. And I think that's the, whenever anybody says, hey, I'm taking this job, and it's anything similar to what we do, it's like, dude, you listen, have your vacations planned out.
Legit.
And take them. You take your PTO.
Right.
This isn't the kind of job where you hold on to it.
No.
You burn that stuff up, because
you need that.
Yeah, and we've talked about it. But if, like, we look at Jesus was, he was like, hey, dude, I'll catch up with y'all later. This is John version. The Bible doesn't say dude.
Go, John.
But yeah, he's like, Jesus is like, hey, guys, I'm going to catch up with you on the other side. Hey, I'm going to catch up with you later. Like, you see, he's going to spend time with his Father.
Right.
And he doesn't take anybody with him. It's just him. And if he had to do that, so how much more do we,
Right.
That means that I need to do that. Because if I'm not taking that time, it's only a matter of time before I start to make, mistakes and stuff like that.
Sure.
Because he's my source.
Amen.
Not my acts, not all the stuff I'm doing, not all the running, not my titles. Like, my source is, that intimate time with God. And it looks different for everybody because people will ask you. Sometimes I'm just having a conversation with Jesus in my car, like, hey, I don't even know what I'm doing right now, but like having a conversation and start to build that relationship and then continue to pour into it. If me and you are friends, we do this podcast and then I never talk to you again because it's like, oh, we've got a relationship. You know what I mean? You're like, this dude's weird. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's telling everybody.
I know you're weird.
Right. I'm already weird. But, it's like you telling people we're close or something. It's like, we used to be close. I don't hear from the dude anymore.
Right.
And I'm sure God's probably like that sometimes. Like, yeah, we did have a relationship. But like, you can't keep cooking off of old fire.
And I've been that guy. I've been that guy that like, oh yeah, I'm a Christian. Of course. But ain't talked to God in a month.
Yeah.
I've been that guy, and it doesn't. The only thing I know about all that is it doesn't end well for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Right.
that's when I get really, my anxiety and everything starts just going wild. And I definitely have a connection with God, and I'm very Jeff Diamondly intentional
Yeah.
about keeping it really like it. I got reminders set on my phone of when, okay, I don't care what I'm doing, where I'm at. I've pulled over to the side of the road and done my thing, and
Yeah.
it's really helped. It's really been working,
It's the most important thing we can do.
man.
Read your Bible, spend time with God.
For sure.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's the two. Because if you're doing that, you're going to praise Him.
Correct.
You can't read what He did for us and then not
Right.
have a heart of gratitude and praise.
For sure.
So yeah, that's really cool.
8 p.m. says read Bible and every day in my phone right now. You know what I mean? Like, and I make myself do it.
And if that's what it takes, then set those alarms.
Right. I do.
Do what you have to do.
If it ain't in my calendar, it don't happen. Like I said, I'm a busy person.
Right. And we tend to push God out first. It's like, well, I got a lot to do. And it's like, I'll get to God later. And then before you know it, you wake up and be like, I haven't prayed in a long time. I haven't read my Bible in a long time. And if I haven't already started making mistakes, I'm probably on the verge of cussing people out.
Oh, yeah.
I'm probably on the verge of several other mistakes,
Yeah.
So
I get that 100%.
So you got to stay close with Jesus.
For sure.
You have to.
Priority.
Yeah. What's the most rewarding thing about what you do?
When I see it click in a guy. I don't work with women only because I'm at a jail and it's just the way it works.
Yeah.
When I see it click, I had a participant. We call them participants because they're voluntarily participating in our program.
Mm-hmm.
So he was a trustee at the jail, and he had all kinds of just crazy cases going on. And his girlfriend at the time was about to have a baby, so he watched the baby be born on a jail visit, and then my team facilitated him getting out and
go see the baby.
And going to treatment.
Okay.
But he had a DCS case at the time, and we facilitated his the baby being there right before he took off. So I literally have pictures on my phone of him holding this baby, brand new little baby, And then he had some guy or connection get him into the Harmony home. I don't know who did that. Yeah. I would know nothing about that. But and now he is up there. He's married to his baby's mother. They have their own place. He has that baby, and that's why I do what I do. Yeah. That right there, man.
Because it's the percentages aren't in our favor.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You can deal with 100 people, and if you get 5 stories like that, you're honestly doing pretty good.
That's really winning. If you get 5 out of 100, you are winning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I always stood up here and said, and anytime I talk, if I can just help one person, then my addiction would have been worth it.
Yeah.
All right. And then, but when I see him standing there holding his little baby, I literally helped 2 people right there. So I'm already winning. You know what I mean? Like,
one life changed can have generational impact.
I tell Robert Knorr that all the time. I'm like, you don't even get it. Anything I'm doing right now has your hand is in it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because you guided me. Yeah. And he's like, oh, I don't like you talking about that. And because he's like really like he doesn't see it. But then when people are asking, I get it now though, because people are like, oh, well, you're out here doing the most. And I'm like, really? What? People are looking up to you and this and that. And I'm just like, kind of freaks you out a little bit, But I just like being the example because I was the guy that shouldn't have made it, man. I died 7 times.
Did you overdose 7 times?
Yeah.
What was that like? Do you how much of it do you remember? And
I just remember waking up and being mad they Narcaned me.
Oh man, you guys, when I would do I'd do hospital responses and it
Oh
would
man,
suck because
yeah.
they'd be so mad. It's like, dude, they saved your life. I don't care. Get me out of
My
here.
ears are hot and I'm withdrawing and I want dope now.
And
That's where my head went as soon as I woke up.
what's sad with that is we've lost people because they turn around, go right back out, and they
Yeah.
don't make it back. You know,
It's
literally
serious
that
out there,
night.
man.
Yeah.
People are dying every day over it, you know? It's sad. And I came into this thinking, you know, I can save the world.
Yeah.
I'm going to save every one of them. I can't.
Yeah.
And that's not fun. That's not the funnest part of my job, you know? But
No.
I just pray every day for just God keep me on your path. Whatever you want me to do, let's do it.
Well,
And
people ask me like, "How do you do it?" And it's like it's God's grace.
I don't do
You know what I
anything.
mean? Because if I was a Sunday school teacher, I'd have a nervous breakdown. I'd cry.
Oh yeah,
I'd be on the way home like, I can't do this. This is
right,
horrible. But I think it's all God's grace to
man.
do it. Because the funerals and people are like, what motivates you? It's like, well, it's weird, you know what I mean? But sometimes what's motivating me is the same thing that's breaking my heart. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like going there and seeing that. It's like if God could use me to stop that from happening one time, which you'll
Right.
never know, maybe
Right.
till, but it's like if it just to stop, if God could use me to stop that from happening to at least one person,
Man,
so they don't have to go
just
through
one,
that,
you know?
because it sucks.
Yeah.
It's the most. I think that's the thing with like what we do. It's fairly common to get the call. You have certain people you don't want to get phone calls from.
Right.
You know, like I know if that sometimes people call me and ask me about treatment, but because of who they are, you take a breath and be like, okay,
Here we go.
yeah, something bad happened to somebody, and then they're like, hey, and it's something else, and then it's like
Right.
there's kind of, I guess you would call it like we're like an active trauma almost of
Yeah.
like some of the bad news
constant.
we get, you know,
Right.
because you instantly go to that. It's like I know the process now, so
Yeah.
like there's a family member. If somebody overdoses, there's a family member that has to identify. They got to get the call.
Right.
They've got to identify the body.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Then they don't even get 24 hours before they have funeral home and a pastor in front of them trying to
Yep.
set up arrangements, and you have not even wrapped your brain around
Yeah.
the fact that you just had to identify somebody that,
Right.
and you realize like your life's never going to be the same.
Right.
The impact and like for the people that are using, like it's such a scapegoat to say that nobody cares, and it's such an excuse because I tell the kids this when we talk to them sometimes, but it's like I've never been to a funeral home where nobody was standing next to the casket
Right.
and that book didn't have any signatures in it.
Yeah.
So when you say nobody cares, that's a lie, you know.
For real.
And I mean, it's going to crush. The thing is, every life lost changes so many people's lives for as long as they're breathing.
Definitely.
Mm,
That's powerful.
yeah.
That's reality though.
You know, and I hate it.
Yeah. I do
You
too.
know, and then we get going so fast. That's another reason why you got to stop. I remember, like Bon overdosed and died, and we talk about
Yeah.
it a lot. It took me. I still don't think I've grieved properly, and I talk to Blevins about that a lot. Brian,
Right.
you'll be sitting on the porch and it just hits you, and some of that's
Boom.
normal, but it's like, dude, when we found out, that he had overdosed. The next morning, me and him were on the phone with somebody like 6 a.m. because they needed treatment. And it was
Yeah.
like it just never, you never really took the time. And I
Right.
don't know if I wanted to. I didn't really want to feel it. You know what I mean? But that's not the proper way to handle it.
Exactly.
But you just push through the stuff.
Just go.
And, yeah.
I get it. I totally understand it.
So you see people a lot that you were in jail with.
Oh man. Yeah.
Some of them are doing good. Some are doing bad. What's
Yeah.
that like?
Well, I like it when I get to go in there and be the example. That because if you knew me, you know how wild I was. You know that I was the guy that everybody wrote me off. I wrote me off.
Mhm.
I was the guy that wasn't supposed to be doing this, and then they walk into the jail and even calling me by some old jail nicknames and stuff.
Yeah.
Big Goofy. I got called Big Goofy the other day. Guy came in and he's like, wow. wow. I was like, it's just, I was 176 when I went to rehab. I'm about 250 right now. And he's like, no, man, like, you're really doing it. I was like, yeah, you can too. And I got a guy in there right now that I've been working with him for 6 months probably. And he knew me from the streets, and he'd been locked up with me in that same jail. And he's really like, he's graduated Matrix. He's really like trying. He's like, wow, how can I do that? And the trick to it that I took when I was in rehab, they took us to some 4th of July fireworks or something. And my cousin Shane Ehrhart was there. And he was telling me he was working for IRAX and stuff and had these certifications. And I was like, well, I like letters behind my name too. You know what I mean? So he said, find somebody that has what you want, man, and go after it. And after I seen that, Ryan Farley from Bridges of Hope is the one that said that. He said, man, find somebody that has something you want and go after it. I told Shane I've been on him ever since,
Yeah.
He just keeps going up and raising. But at the same time, I got a lot of letters behind my name now,
How many certifications you got now?
I'm a certified peer recovery coach. I got a mental health endorsement. I got a forensic support endorsement. I'm a culturally responsive professional, and I'm also a certified supervisor of peer recovery coaches.
That's wild.
Yeah. And I need that LAC. That's what I'm waiting on. Licensed addiction counselor. That's the one. That's the one I want. Thinking about going about my KDAC next.
How far away are you from getting that?
Year and a half.
So you're close.
2 years.
That's
maybe.
pretty close.
Yeah.
Sheesh, dude.
I was joking with my cousin Shane like a few weeks ago, and he said, "I just wanted to say Shane Ehrhart alphabet." I was like, I want that too. But that We Do Recover event, I remember from leaving it was the 3rd annual We Do Recover, and I looked over at Keith and I said, I'll know I made it when I'm on the same stage as Nikki Gracious, that dude, that rapper.
Yeah.
But this 5th annual one, I was literally a speaker there.
You were on the poster.
Yeah.
I saw your face.
Yeah, I didn't even have my teeth then, you know what I mean? Like, yeah.
But you were there.
Them smiles are different,
Yeah, you were on it though.
Yeah. So I did that, and I forgot, like, I speak a lot.
Yeah.
I'm not ashamed. I'm not scared to talk. I was at first.
Yeah.
But I don't really get nervous, but I forgot how many people go to that thing, and I was nervous. They said I did good. I haven't seen it, haven't heard it, but
from what I saw you did, I watched the live.
Yeah.
It seemed like it went really well.
Yeah, I just what's cool about like freedom is I've already told my sponsor, I've already told God, and I've already spoke the words, and I don't have anything to hide at this point. So it's really easy to just get up there and like, here's what it is. There's a lot of stuff I'm ashamed of, but I don't live in that.
No.
I can't.
There's freedom in speaking it out.
Man.
I was thinking about that the other day.
For
it's
sure.
like, if I tell you all the bad stuff about me, what can the enemy do?
Rocky tells me that a lot.
Yeah. It's like the end of 8 Mile. Not that we're promoting 8 Mile movie,
boom,
but
boom.
they're having like a rap battle, and he goes out and says all of the bad stuff about itself, and it's like, what do you got now?
Tell these people something they don't know about.
Yeah, drops the mic, throws him the mic, you're done. And that's kind of how you can handle the enemy. The Bible talks about like confessing your sins.
Man.
And the more that
there's power in that.
Yeah. And you don't want to live in it. What I mean? You don't want to carry it in your backpack, but coming out saying this is, because sometimes we get saved and it's like, oh, I got to put on this persona.
Facade.
And it's like, not me, man, because I did that for a while, and it was dangerous for me and the people around me. And then I fall on my face publicly, get humbled, go to the cave for a year, come back out, and it's like, never again will I not, will I be preaching at people. From now, it's like, I've went through this, and
this is my experience, and here's how I did it. You know what I mean? And with my certifications come a lot of you can't like, I can't go in the jail and just tell a guy straight up, well, you need Jesus.
Right.
I'm not allowed to do that. You know what I mean? Like, I have to but boy, if they open the door, I'm allowed to then. This is what worked for me. You know what I mean? But I'm real careful.
God will open the door, though.
God
They
definitely
told
does
us
open the door.
that, and it was like, you know what? The minute they told me that, we were like, okay, we're going to start.
Here we go.
I'm going to wear Christian gear. Like
Yeah,
I'm going to come in. I'm going to say it.
exactly.
I had a dude, one of the most honorable. I think the dude was trying to offend me, but I took it as such a compliment. He had been drinking, and he was in the hospital bed, and I walk in, and he's like, "Ugh." And I'm like, oh my gosh,
Here we
this is a
go.
good way to start, right?
Yeah.
He said, I just can't stand you, Lord loving MFers. And I'm like, I haven't even got started yet, dude.
Right.
And I was like, what makes you say that? And look, I called Todd after that, one of our pastors. I was like, guess what I just got called? You know what I'm saying? Have you ever been called that? And we ended up having a good conversation, but it's like, I think a lot of times people can tell because they used to talk to us about the school stuff, and people try to
Right.
make you feel guilty. People that are on the couch eating Cheetos.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
For
It's
sure.
like, oh, you're going in there, you're not. It's like, oh, we're talking about God. It's just waiting for God to
Open that door.
soften
Yeah.
their heart. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's start to crack that egg or whatever it is, and then we're getting in there.
Yeah. Rocky had, like, when I first got to the Harmony home, Rocky was not, I didn't like Rocky at all. And it's because, like, I'm sober, you know what I mean? But he had already found that freedom, right?
Yeah.
So why are you happy all the time? And I can't, Jesus, bro, man, I can't stand him, He has
Yeah.
a theory that was the demons in me that didn't like him, right?
Yeah.
He has this whole theory about it. But I remember literally looking at Rocky smiling, and I was like, I'm a Jesus people now, bro. I am. I'm a Jesus people because, yeah.
That's great, man.
Yeah. Now don't tell him, but he's one of my friends. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't tell him that. This ain't live or nothing.
We'll
He
edit
ain't
it
going to
out.
put this on there,
We'll
right?
edit it out.
But yeah, like,
Rocky.
I remember looking at Rocky and being excited about, I'm a Jesus people now, bro. I am.
Yeah.
Like, I really am. And
Rocky McComas, he does a lot with the
Yeah.
Harmony Home too. Faith Community Church is.
yeah,
He's there. I just saw him on a podcast.
Yep.
They did live on Facebook.
yeah.
So yeah. So if you could sit down and have a cup of coffee with anybody in the Bible that's not Jesus, who would you have that cup of coffee with, and what would you ask them?
Abraham. Abraham was pretty old when he had a kid. I'm 44. My wife is just pregnant. How do you deal with that?
Yeah.
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 I really like to pick David's head too,
Yeah.
just because, like, if you want to talk about the most imperfect person that God, when I say I'm blessed and highly favored, I try to speak that into existence.
Yeah.
And David was blessed and highly favored.
Yeah.
And he did a lot of
He did some bad,
he did
bad
some real
stuff too.
but that shows me that, so really, like, that Abraham was the joke because I'm old and
Yeah.
getting ready to have a baby. But I'd pick David.
Yeah, that would be an interesting conversation. The amount of questions I would have for him.
Oh yeah.
He freaking slayed Goliath.
Yeah.
His brothers treated him like crap.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
Gosh. He had so many chances he could have killed Saul and he didn't.
Yeah.
Like, how do you keep that level of honor? That would be difficult.
Right.
Like, at some point, just send somebody to kill the dude. And he's trying to kill you.
Yeah.
Everybody would have understood.
Right. It would have been okay.
Yeah, they would have wanted you to do it. But, yeah. And I think it's all like picking his brain about the end of his life, because I think we make the mistake a lot of times of, like, the highlights. David danced naked.
Right.
What that's
Right.
doing is showing you that's how much he loved God. In Bathsheba, like Dave and Goliath, and him in the field herding sheep. But then when you get to the end of his life, I think one of the sad things about his life is that lust and sexual problem seem to bleed onto his kids, because when you read, like, when he's getting to the end of his years and he's got, his kids, one of his kids raping one of his, just another one, and like some of the dysfunction
Right.
there. Yeah, it would be so interesting to pick his brain about
Definitely.
all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never thought, Dave.
Like,
I don't know
is
why.
that like the cycle? And I kind of liken it to a cycle of addiction. Like, I'm so worried about the kids I have now that have seen what I've been. Can I break that cycle with them? But I go back to Kalichi, and he says in that song about I'm doing this so my daughter never see me high or something,
Mm-hmm.
And I feel that because I don't, and I don't like that my kids see me high like that, But to be honest, at that time, that didn't matter. Nothing mattered except me being high. So I would liken it to the cycle of,
Yeah.
generational curse. And I pray every day that I'm doing something to break that, Not on only me, but in other families and other people. Can I help them break that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you break it because I've talked about this before, like with my daughters. They make pretty good decisions, but
Yeah.
you break it in a sense of like, I know that I've
Yeah.
shown them, even when I think they're not listening, that there is a source out there, no matter how much you're grieving, no matter how far away you've gotten.
For sure.
You know what I mean? No
Yeah.
matter what pig pen you're eating in,
Yeah.
there is a Father that's greater than me.
Amen.
You know what I mean? That's there for you, that's
Right.
waiting on you. There is a kingdom, you know what I mean, that you are meant to walk into. And there is a power.
Amen.
There is a power that you have access to, and that is where we have to. So no matter what decisions they make, no matter what decisions your kids make,
Right.
eventually they're going to look up, he's changed.
Yeah.
And when we say change, that's not really accurate. He's new.
Amen.
And how did he get new? And even if I'm not paying attention to you because I'm mad at you, I can't deny that you're a new creation.
Right.
And now that I know, I've seen Chris on this side and then on this side.
Right.
And I know what he said worked.
Yeah.
And then I see all these other crazy people that seem to believe the same thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I find comfort in that, knowing like they're gonna have battles and they're gonna have trial. It is life.
For sure.
One day they're gonna have to live without me.
Right.
But I know that they've seen in me, not perfection, but they've seen like he has a love for this Jesus.
Oh yeah.
And this Jesus had totally changed him.
For sure.
Wrecked his life.
Yeah. Definitely. I was talking to somebody the other day, and he's like, you get paid good money, and for this field it's not bad, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if this is about money, man, I got an associate's degree in computer programming and an associate's degree in computer networking. Probably be in Chicago making six figures somewhere, working for a software company, but I wouldn't be fulfilled, man. And it's not all about the money at all. Especially, I mean, I went through a 30-year storm, man.
Yeah.
And they say that the greatest stories come through the biggest storms, right?
Yeah.
So, and I go back a lot to Nikki telling me, you're getting ready to do something great, man. And I feel like when I sit in retrospect and really look at the past 2.5 years and really think about it, like if I'm not thinking about me and I'm looking at somebody else, like if I pull myself out of my life and look at it, I'm like, wow, but I don't see that on a day-to-day basis because I live it. I'm not anywhere near perfect. I have all kinds of flaws. I have all kinds of character defects. But the difference now is that I pray that God helps me through those and helps me realize them so I can work on them. I'm never going to be able to probably shed all of them. And that's okay because there's only been one perfect person to ever walk on the earth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and it's definitely not me.
Mm-mm.
I can tell you right now, it's not John Humphreys.
It's definitely not.
You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Man, dude. That's some good stuff, man. So good. So, the Harmony Homes meeting that we're talking about is in Huntington every Sunday night
Sunday nights at 6:30
at Trinity
United Methodist Church, 530 Guilford Street.
530 Guilford Street. I'm going to be there in a couple of weeks. One of my dudes is sharing. He's got a really powerful story about being possessed. December something.
15th?
Yeah.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, and so I'm excited about that.
I would, since I'm the guy that schedules him,
Yeah,
I guess.
I believe you're the guy that scheduled him, but
yeah.
So you got that going on. You can also, what's a good way to contact Harmony Home if somebody's looking to get into transitional houses or housing or has questions for you guys?
Well, we do it. Normally, contact Keith Adams Jr. I can get you his number. You want it?
Yeah, just say it. We could do that, can't we, RJ? You know, put it up maybe.
And then there's also an intake phone number for if you have somebody, a loved one that's in jail or prison. Rob keeps collect on this certain phone. We call it the intake phone. He keeps money on there, so you can like have them call from jail or prison.
And they take the calls too, don't they? Because I've heard him talk about that.
Yeah. Keith's number is, I say this every week during announcements. You think I'd have it memorized? 260-224-9470, and the Harmony Homes intake phone number is 260-388-8764. You want any other numbers? I got
I think we're good.
John Humphrey's number is
So, and also, they do the speaker meeting testimony services. They go live on Facebook.
Yeah, you can
and that's
watch them.
that's on Facebook. You'll be looking for the Harmony Home.
Yeah.
And it's in Huntington. There's a few Hope Houses, Harmony Homes. It's the one in Huntington, and Sunday nights they go live with those. And also they do cool recovery stuff. They got something come up for Christmas.
Yeah, I'm going to be the Grinch again.
You are?
Well, I think it's because of my belly. You know what I mean?
I could see you being the Grinch.
You're a mean one.
Oh, so yeah. So there's that. And you can also donate to the Harmony Home. I know they've got some stuff they're trying to raise money for.
Oh, yeah. They're trying to get some sprinkler system in the third house. They're trying to say that they're basically, how I understand it, are thinking about making the guys from there just go because there's not a sprinkler system in this house.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some ACLU stuff involved, some lawyer. It's bigger than the Harmony Home. I think Place of Grace is involved. But I don't want them kicking our guys out over a sprinkler system, man.
Yeah.
You know?
So you can donate, and you can figure that out through those numbers or the Facebook page, I believe.
Yeah. Facebook page, you'll be able to get to harmonyhomeofhuntington.com, and I got a set up on there for PayPal, I know.
Okay. So if you feel led, get a hold of them and send something to them. They're changing lives over there.
Big time.
Anything else? Anything else you got going on you want to plug?
I ain't got a whole lot going on, man. Go Yankees. I mean, I got the hat on, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I was just making sure I didn't wear the other hat. Go Dodgers. What do you want me to say here?
Yeah, that's whatever floats your boat.
No, I don't really. I appreciate you having me on here, man.
I'm glad you came on, man. It's nice talking to you. It's always refreshing having a conversation with you. I like the energy.
Yeah.
And I know we don't get to talk much, but I always appreciate when I get
We're something like busy.
Yeah. When we do connect for 10 minutes, like it's really good.
Right.
I felt blessed the other night when we talked in the parking lot for
Yeah.
15 minutes. I was like, that was nice.
That was cool.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. So, and I'm sure we're going to have you back around for different projects
I'm
we're working
everywhere.
on. Yeah, and so we appreciate you coming on. Listen, If you have not subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do.
Do it. Do it.
Do it. Apple Podcasts, we're on there. Give us a follow and a review, and Spotify. And you can give us a review on there, and on Spotify you can comment on the episodes of the podcast, and we would appreciate it. And share some content with us. If you hear a story that impacts you, or you think it might help somebody, share it to them. You can send it straight from YouTube to their phone. You can send it straight from any of those things to their phone. There's a share button. So, and again, we never want to forget Delivered Media, our friend RJ, who is on the ones and twos over there, and we'll be editing this episode. And he's the one that makes the magic happen and gets gets these things out on Monday morning and does like all of the hard work, and we're forever grateful for him. And again, thank you, Chris, for coming in.
Thank you.
Check out the Harmony Home people on social media. Go like the page or follow it. And we will see you next Monday with somebody else telling a story.
Ta-da.
Love you guys.
Later.